Facebook ads training.
Welcome.
Again, and in this video, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to walk you through how we structure Facebook ad campaigns when you launch them. And then in the very next video, we're going to show you specifically, click by click, how to go out and place your first ad. But I want you to understand the psychology and the methodology behind launching six-figure campaigns. Does that sound cool, Steve?
Let's do it.
Cool. So we are in my ads account right now, Landon Stewart, as you can see. And this ads account, I spent around $6 grand. I have a couple ads accounts all together. I've spent around $80,000 on Facebook ads. So if you're wondering, are Landon and Steve qualified to teach me Facebook ads? The answer is yes. We've spent a lot. We've done a lot. We've taught a lot of people how to do it. Tens of thousands for States. We've taught a lot of people all together. We have wrapped millions of dollars between ourselves and our students from Facebook ads. And so that's some of our qualification for it. So I just want to walk through real quick. Here's the Facebook ads manager. So when you go to set up your Facebook ad, it's important to realize that there are essentially three different layers to your ads when you create them. So you have layer number one, which is the campaign. So imagine the campaign is like a big ocean, right? So the campaign is, you could have multiple ad sets within one campaign. So you have a campaign here, and then within that campaign, you have your ad sets. And ad sets are kind of like a small pond within the campaign, and then within an ad set, you have your ads, which is kind of like you fishing in this little pond in the ocean. That's essentially how Facebook works, and we'll show you exactly what this means here in a second. So when we structure our ads, here's how we do it. So we create one campaign for, here's how I do it today at least. I'll create one campaign for every single ad that I create. So for an actual ad that I place on Facebook, I'll have one campaign for it. So if I place an ad on Facebook and it's my picture, it's a video, I have one campaign for that video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So for example, that video ad we've been teaching, you had one campaign for that video.
Exactly, one campaign for that video, which I'm not in the ad account that had that particular video.
So if you had created a new variation of that video, maybe with different subtitles, maybe with a different intro or outro, you create a different campaign.
A new campaign for it. Exactly, Steve. So for every ad I create, I have one campaign. So how I name them today, and this account I've been using for years now. So back then I would name them the name of a keyword. I actually don't do that today. What I do today is I name it the name of the ad. So whatever is going to help me remember what ad. So if the ad is about my three secrets video, that's what I'll name the ad so that I know what ad it is for my records, whatever the name of the ad is. So if I'm talking about the high ticket freedom formula webinar, I'll name it high ticket freedom formula webinar. Exactly. Whatever it is, so that I know what ad I'm talking about in there. And then what I do at the end of the name, and we'll show you how to do this in the next video. I just wanted to make sure you're really clear on the structure first. So at the end of the name, so it could be 3 secrets video. And I know that that's my 3 secrets video ad. What I do next is then I put the date on the end of it so that I'm clear. So today is June 23rd. I would put June 23rd so that I know when I'm placing that. So if I'm looking through 100 ad sets, I know what was placed. Exactly. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And you can actually search ads later on in the future. If you're like, I want to click June, you can go see all the ads you placed in June. It helps you out.
Awesome. So that's how I structured that. And then underneath one campaign, I will do multiple ad sets for each interest that I'm targeting. So I'll kind of lay this out for you. So for example, if the campaign is called 3 Secrets, right? So we'll just say 3 Secrets is the name of the campaign. Then what I do is I create an individual ad set for each interest that I target. And I know right now this might be a little fuzzy. In the next video, when we actually show you click by click how to do this, you have a lot more clarity on it. But the campaign, 3 secrets. Then what I do is I create an ad set for each interest. So if the interest, if I'm targeting Eric Worre, for example, that would be, so it'd be 3 secrets is the campaign. Eric Worre, Ray Higdon, MLSP, for example, are 3 keywords that I target.
Home business search,
and these would be the 3 ad sets that I'm targeting.
Right.
Does that make sense, Steve?
100%.
So I have a different ad set for every interest.
Now, are there any rules on how many ad sets you can create with a campaign?
There are no rules. I have campaigns that have 30 or 40 different ad sets because I've targeted 30 or 40 different variations of different keywords. Now, what we do when we create our ads is we do 1 keyword per ad set. So what some people will do, because Facebook gives you the option to do it, is they give you the option, you can actually target as many interests within an ad set as you want. So you could actually select, okay, I'm going to target Eric Worre and Ray Higgin, which are 2 network marketing trainers. I'm going to target both of these guys at the exact same time. What's the problem with this, Daves?
The problem is, and this is kind of how I started, I actually started targeting everybody at once, right? And what happened was, I started generating leads. It was a little bit more expensive than I wanted to pay. And I was like, well, what the heck's going on? And I actually called you that day. And I was like, okay, can you look over my stuff? And you're like, you got to break up the keywords, because right now you don't know where your leads are coming from. I didn't know if my leads were coming from Eric Worre, Ray Higgin. I didn't even know if I was getting leads for Eric Worre.
Yeah,
they were all coming from him. So I had to separate them to see the data.
Exactly. See, imagine a world where Staves is paying $5 a lead in this imaginary example. And in it, he's paying, literally getting 0 leads here and it could be $2 leads here, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of confusing.
Well, for example, it could have been like, I could have been getting 50-cent leads for Eric Worre.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's a much
$7 leads for Ray.
Exactly.
Who knows? You know?
And so what we want to do, because here's the thing, right? Your ad might crush it with Eric Worre.
Yeah.
And then not do so well with Ray Higgin. And sometimes it crushes it with every interest we target.
You never know. The marketplace decides.
Exactly, because there are different people that follow these. And so sometimes your ad might do really well with the Eric Worre audience, or it might be the Frank Kern audience, or whatever. If you're in the golf niche, it might be the Golf Digest that crushes it, but it does terrible with Tiger Woods, right? So you don't really know. And so if you lump, and we'll show you exactly how to do this right in the next video, but if you lump these 2 interests together, what happens is you don't know where your leads are coming from, just like Steve says.
Yeah.
So you could be getting amazing, cheap, super awesome leads from Ray Higgin and no leads from Eric Worre, and if they were in the same ad set, you wouldn't even know. And so what we want to do is we want to know that data. We want to know, okay, are we getting leads from Eric Worre or Ray Higgin or both? And if we aren't getting leads from Eric Worre, we can actually turn that ad off and won't spend any more money there.
Yep, exactly. And I know you're probably listening like, guys, this is a little bit, there's a lot of layers here.
There is.
We're going to visually walk you through step by step. We just kind of wanted to paint the picture, paint the vision on how to tee all this up. And then once you actually place your first ad, you'll realize there's not much to it. It's actually really simple. It's really easy. Once you get the ad up, again, you're starting with 1 campaign here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like learning how to ride a bike. So when you're 5 years old and your dad's teaching you how to ride a bike, you're like, okay, so I have to hold onto the bars, I have to pedal with both feet while balancing at the same time. And you're kind of like thinking, you're seeing all of these different things. And then you ride the bike for a week and you're like, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. You're looking at this, you're like, wow, there's a lot going on.
Ad sets, ads. Now I'm talking about keywords inside of an ad set. Don't worry about it.
Within a couple of weeks, it'll be just like riding a bike for you. It'll be all unconscious, automatic. You'll be placing ads so fast, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
If this is your first, this might be at least your first time ever seeing it. And so that's okay. Once you're familiar with this, it'll be completely normal for you.
And again, we're just starting you off with 1 campaign, a few ad sets, and a few keywords.
Yeah.
You'll notice, and the ads are all the same.
Exactly.
So we'll walk you through it.
Easy to start. Now, one thing to be aware of, Facebook changes their ad platform all the time. Like the look of it, the look of how it looks, the cosmetics.
Oh, you're used to that? Okay.
Let's change it. I created my first Facebook ads course back in 2015. They've probably changed the layout on Facebook 25 times since then.
You really think so?
Oh, at least.
That many?
They change it all the time. And so here's the thing though, but the 3 core campaigns, ad sets, ads, they've remained the entire time. And so they've changed some things cosmetically, but the spirit of Facebook has stayed the same. And so if you log in here and it's 2 months after this video and your ad account looks a little different, just play around with it for a few minutes because the spirit of it is probably the same.
And
now,
it kind of ties back to the stories, the story ad framework.
Yeah.
The principles of the story ads will always be the same, and the principles of the advertising platform on Facebook will remain the same. Cosmetically, you might pop back there and be like, okay, a little different, but I still got my campaigns, I still got my ad sets and ads. Lock into the principles we're going to teach in this video, and you'll be fine.
Exactly. Now, if Facebook ever does make a major change, they remove ad sets completely, then we will redo this video for you. But as long as it's just cosmetic changes, we'll just keep the content because just like Steve said, the principles remain the same. And so here's how we structure it, just again to be clear. So we have our campaign. We do 1 campaign every time we do an ad. So here's essentially what that means. Let's imagine for a second, you're like, I want to do a story ad and a video ad. Well, you would have one campaign for your story ad. You would have one campaign for your video ad.
Yep.
And one would be named your story ad name, whatever's going to remind you of what this story ad is.
Yep.
And it's just for you to see. No one else sees it.
Throw in a date on there.
Yeah, throw in your date, and then you'd have one for your video ad. So you have 2 campaigns. Now, within each campaign, you can create ad sets. And what we do is we create one ad set for every interest that we target. So there underneath the campaign, my video ad campaign would be the ad set of Eric Worre, would be the ad set of Ray Higdon. And it could be, and it could be 5 ad sets, 10 ad sets, as many ad sets as you want as you scale. It might for you start off with 1 ad set.
We're going to start you small here.
And then over time, I've had at times where I have 20 active ad sets and spend $200 a day on ads.
Yeah.
I've been there.
We're going to show you how we start our ads.
Yeah, exactly, you know what I mean? Exactly. And so then from that, so we have ad sets, and then we have ads. So what's the difference between ad sets and ads? Well, ads are the individual ads within the ad set. So what we do is we actually create one ad underneath each ad set. So it's essentially, here's how it'll look. So there's one campaign, and then there could be 5 ad sets within that one campaign, and then there's one ad, or wait, oh snap, that's supposed to be ad sets. I'm getting lost.
One campaign.
One campaign.
There could be 5 ad sets.
5 ad sets, 3 ad sets, any number of ad sets, and then there's going to be one ad per ad set. So one ad per ad set.
That's the easy part. You know,
Does that make sense?
You have one ad for everything.
Okay, let me write it all out one more time. So it would be one campaign, which would be the campaign for your video ad. You would have
in that campaign, inside that campaign,
you have your ad sets. There could be 3 ad sets, 10 ad sets. We use 5 as an example.
Yep.
5 ad sets within one campaign. It's unlimited though. And then you would have one ad per ad set. And I realize right now, you're like, how does that work?
Don't worry.
We're going to show you click by click in the very next video how to do this. And I'm sure Jaden talked about it a little bit. We just wanted to make sure you fully got it. Now, here's one other thing we do. This is a little nuanced, but it's super important. So states. I want you to think back for a second, okay? I want you to think back to a world where me and you just got off the phone. And you just placed your very first ad, and you're out there and you're getting leads for $8. And you're like, Landon, what's going on? Can you look over my stuff? And we made 2 tweaks. The first tweak was separating out the ad sets. What was the second tweak we made?
The second tweak was this. So when you're on Facebook, you can target people that are on their mobile device, and you can target people on their desktop computer at home. What I started out is I targeted everybody on their mobile and computer device, on their desktop, right? So when I was generating these leads, I couldn't tell where the leads were coming from. I couldn't tell if they were coming from mobile or desktop. And Landon said, just like we did with the ad sets, let's separate mobile and desktop completely separate as well to get more refined, granular data. And all of a sudden, I realized, holy smokes, I'm getting $2 leads on mobile, and I'm spending $6, $7, $8 on desktop. This is amazing. So what I did was I separated and I found out where all my profitable leads were coming from. And I was able to cut my lead cost down overnight to $3 a lead.
And then all of a sudden you started making $1,000
overnight. Yeah, I literally made $1,000 the next day.
Yeah.
And then I made $1,000 the day after that. And I went on to make about $7,000 my first 15
With
days.
the campaign, some people look at $8 a lead like, well, I'm not even going to do it. Imagine a world where instead of that phone call with me, you turn that ad off.
Yeah, and I got to rewrite this stuff. I got to redo everything, right? You're 1 to 2 tweaks away from a completely different state, a completely different result in your life.
Exactly. And so again, just to reiterate, and don't worry too much about the specifics. Again, in the next video, we'll show you click by click
we'll show them how to do mobile.
We're going to show exactly how to do that in the next video. But so what we do is we have our one campaign, right? One campaign, that's for the overall ad that we place on our Facebook fan page, right? That's for the video or the story that we wrote. Then we have individual ad sets for the interests that we're targeting. What we do is we split those ad sets out, one for mobile and one for desktop for the same interest. So essentially, if we were targeting Eric Worre, for example,
break it off.
If we had Eric Worre, for example, underneath the campaign, we would essentially have one ad set that was specific for Eric Worre mobile, one ad set that was specific for Eric Worre desktop. Does that make sense, Dave?
Yeah, it
because
does.
And here's why we do both. Now, typically, with most of the ads we do, we get more and cheaper leads from mobile.
Yeah.
With most of the ads we do. But that being said, every now and then, we will have a desktop ad that crushes it. Now, if you're on a little bit of a budget, and you're like, okay, which one's better? Because this is essentially $5 here and $5 here. So you're spending a little bit more money.
Yeah.
If you're on a little bit of a budget, where do you start? I recommend starting just targeting mobile.
Yeah.
Because typically, you will get more leads for less with mobile than you will with desktop.
What I do,
if
you want to know, you probably do know.
Yeah.
I start all on mobile, and then if I have a good converting ad, I move it over to desktop. Now, if I'm feeling froggy, sometimes I start with desktop and mobile if I really want to get a lot of data and test it. But most of the time, about 60-70% of the time, I do start with mobile, and I'm like, I've got a few campaigns or a few ad sets that are doing well.
Here's the thing, Stace. Here's a mistake you're making.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I've had it where I have a mobile campaign that does not do good, but it crushes it on desktop.
Okay.
And with your current model here, Stace, of only taking the mobile and trying them on desktop, the ones that do well on mobile, you're probably missing out on a few keywords that didn't do good on mobile, but would have crushed it on desktop.
That's what we do here. We help each other.
So that's one little plug there, bro.
So let's hear what you do.
Well, so what I do is I start off with both, and I go very deep. Because here's the thing, right? So every single thing, you're actually spending money on Facebook daily. So here's what that means. It means anytime you have an ad that's not working well, you can turn that ad off at any time. So for example, if you're spending $5 per day on the ad, that doesn't mean you're spending $5 a day for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a $5 commitment for that day. And so you spend it, and let's say it doesn't do well, you can easily just turn it off. And so for example, let's say you wanted to do Eric Worre. And we'll just keep running back to this example to keep things simple. Let's say you want to do Eric Worre, and you do $5 per day mobile, and you do $5 per day desktop. For example, I know we're getting into some specific intense stuff, but this is where all the money is made. And honestly, I've bought courses.
And we don't want to hold anything back. We really don't.
As much as we possibly can. Let's say you did 5 mobile, 5 desktop daily, right? Well, if desktop isn't working well, you can turn that off after one day. So you're only risking $5. You aren't actually risking $5 a day, even though it is a daily model. You're just testing it for $5. So what I do is I take all of my ad sets, right? So I have Eric Worre, I have Ray Higdon, I have MLSP, and so what I do today, and again, this is where you'll be eventually. In the beginning, in the next video, we'll show you where to start. Eventually, we'll show you how to get here. So when I launch a campaign, I do Eric Worre, Ray Higdon, MLSP. I actually start with 10 keywords, with 10 interests. And I do each interest. I do $5 a day mobile, so $5 a day M, $5 a day D, and I do that for every single one. So, and I do a 10 interest. So it's $5. So each interest is essentially $10 a day. So I spend $100 that first day. Now, does that mean I'm going to spend $100 every day forever? No, because I realize that probably around half the interests aren't going to work, and I'll be turning about half of those ad sets off. So I'm really only doing $50 a day because I know some of them aren't going to work. Does that make sense, Dave?
It does, and I'm glad you brought that up because there's always room for growth, and also you don't need to have it perfect to make 10 grand a month. You know what I mean? But we're going to teach you how to get the best results here.
So
one more thing to consider too is there's different qualities. Like the reason why mobile leads are cheaper sometimes is because it's a different user experience. They're on mobile. They're mobile. They're out in the world. You know, they're not at home focused sitting on a computer. So sometimes we're willing to pay a little bit more for desktop leads. Do you notice that your desktop leads are a little more expensive?
So here's the thing. So the reason mobile is cheaper is because the majority of Facebook, and people don't even realize this, but it's because the majority of Facebook's traffic is actually on mobile, is on their phones. And so it's there's more supply. Because there's more supply of it, that's the reason it's cheaper. But that being said, like Steve said, desktop, you're going to get a little bit of a higher quality lead only because they're on their computer right then. So they're just a little bit more likely to buy a product. So if I'm getting $3 a lead on mobile and $5 on desktop, even though mobile is doing better than desktop, in theory, I keep those desktop leads because I know they're a little bit higher quality. Does that make
Perfect.
sense?
I'm glad we brought that up.
Oh, I'm so glad we brought that up.
Yeah.
And so your very first campaign, how do you launch it? Let's imagine that you're on a little bit of a budget. You're like, okay, how can I get we have something in our culture that we call a min-max, which is essentially what is the minimum maximum on what Me and Saves are saying. Now we realize that typically you're going to get more leads from mobile. So if you're on a little bit of a budget, you're like, okay, how do I just start this thing on a budget? I would do all of your campaigns just mobile. And as you start getting some sales, and you start having some things come in and things are popping and you're getting leads, then you can do mobile and desktop like I do. But I would do just mobile, and I would do 3 interests at $5 a day each. Now, does that mean, which would be $15 your first day? Now, does that mean that you have to spend $15 every day that month? No. Probably from those 3 interests, 1 or 2 might not work well, and you're actually only going to end up spending around $5 to $10 a day. Does that make sense, Dave?
Yeah, and I recommend writing all these numbers down.
Yeah.
This is important.
It's
3 interests,
and the reason,
$5 a piece is the key.
And here's why 3 interests and not 1. Why not just test 1 interest? Well, it's because the reality is if you just tested just 1 interest at $5 a day, it might not work well for that particular interest, but that doesn't mean the ad's bad.
Yeah.
It could just mean it didn't work well for that interest.
Exactly.
And so if you test it with 3 different interests, Airport, Rayhaven, My Lead System Pro, as an example in our industry. If you test it with 3 different interests, then you have a good idea, okay, the ad isn't doing as well across 3 interests. I probably need to make tweaks to the ad. Yeah. And it just gives you data faster. So we want.
And in the future here, in the near future, we'll actually show you what to do and how to optimize your ads, how to optimize your videos when things aren't working. We have protocol on kind of what to do first.
Yeah,
Don't worry about like how that's going to work. We're going to teach you that here in the future modules.
And here's kind of our goal with our campaign. We actually want to, at the $15 a day, what we want is we actually want the campaign to fail fast.
Fast, yeah.
We want it to fail fast. So the reason why we start off with a little bit more, like whenever I start a campaign at $100 a day, I don't expect to spend $100 a day all month. Yeah. The reason I start that big is because I want to know if it's going to work or not fast. I don't want to spend $5 a day and it takes me 30 days to get the data that I can get in 1 day.
Right.
And so the reason why we start at 15 over 3
You're compressing time and effort and energy.
So imagine a world where you just did 1 interest, $5 a day. But that means it would take you 3 days to spend $15.
Yeah.
Where you could have just done it in 1 day. Yeah. So you're literally working 3 times faster, even if you don't expect to spend $15 every day.
Yeah.
It could just be you want to spend $5 a day, that's your goal, that's your budget. Spend $15 the first day just to find out if the ad's going to work. So that if it's not going to work, you can do a new ad faster. You're compressing time. This is how you quantum and increase your results quickly.
Yeah, this is how the big boys do it.
This is how we play the game. Yep. This is how 6, 7, 8-figure internet marketers, this is how they play the game. And eventually, you can do what I do, which is starting off with 10 interests, $5 a day for mobile, $5 a day for desktop, and I find out day 1 if it's going to work or not.
Yep.
Because I have so much data to compare. I'm just gathering data faster. And eventually, you'll be there too. But we start at just a few bucks a day with just a few interests. We see how it does there. Then we start optimizing campaigns. And we'll show you how to do that in future videos. So in the very next video, what we're going to show you how to do is how to actually go on Facebook and click by click set up all of the methodology and all of the things that we just talked about in this video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. See you in the next video.